All right, guys, my name is Tim Sparkman. I'm from Bristol, Texas. Tell you a little bit about myself real quick, and then we're going to go right into customer gathering. What I've done my entire life is I've had a restoration company. I've done the same thing for 26 years. So one thing that's very important for everybody to understand is I don't like change, okay? I've done the same thing for 26 years. I live where I was born. My dad was born in the house that I live in, physically born there. My granddad was physically born in the house I live in. My great-granddad built the house after the Civil War. So I'm very stable. I don't like change. And the reason I want to tell you that was because it's very important to understand when you're gathering customers and you're gathering energy bills and you're gathering gas bills, the number one thing people dislike is change. They don't like change. First time I went and I talked to my dad about becoming a customer, he'd had TXU for 75 years. He didn't want to switch. He wanted nothing to do with switching his electric bill. Now, the reason he didn't want to switch was because he was not in a financial situation where he had to switch, so selling him a price was not going to work. So what we all have to understand is, why are we here? Why did the largest energy company in North America suddenly decide to switch? Because they wanted a sticky customer. They wanted to get out of the price market. Because whenever you're working on prices and selling on prices, it's not a sticky customer. You gathered it based off a price, and you will lose it based off of a price. Now, doing this the right way or doing it the wrong way will greatly determine the success of your business for the next 5, 10, 15 years. And one thing I can promise you is, once you get it started wrong, you can't fix it. It's almost impossible. So what do I mean about starting it wrong? That's when you're teaching people to do it the wrong way, and you know very quickly, because you'll look at your team, you'll look at your downline, and you'll have a group growing with 20 people, 70 people, 150 people, and they're averaging 2 customers per person. And then you'll have another line growing, and I always like to use them as an example, Tommy Duncan in Houston, Texas, that averages almost 20 customers per rep, okay? Now, let's think about that. There's going to come a day where Tommy has 2,000 reps at 20 customers per rep, and somebody else is going to have 2,000 reps at 2 customers per rep. Same amount of work, 10 times the amount of residual income. So the way we gather customers, the way we teach others to get together customers will greatly determine our long-term residual income. If you live by the rates, you will die by the rates. The biggest mistake you can make is when you go up and you call a family member and you say, "Hey, Aunt Faye, this is Tim. Hey, I was wanting to switch your electric bill and save you a little bit of money." Okay? Well, there's multiple things that are going to happen. Number one is she's going to say, "I don't want to save any money. I'm happy where I'm at." Okay? The second thing that could happen is she goes, "Great," and she switches with you. And you've just taught her to switch based on price. 6 months from now, do you know what she's going to do when her contract's up? She's going to look around, find the cheapest price, because that's what you've taught her to do, yes or yes. And she's going to switch away from you. And she's not going to feel guilty at all about it. Now, the third thing that can happen is you can sit there and you talk to her, and you know, if I call somebody up and I call Earl up and I say, "Hey, Earl, I need you to become my customer. I can save you some money," and I go through explaining the prices to him, and he says, "Man, Tim, that sounds great. Come over tomorrow." I drop by his house and he goes, "Tim, guess what, man? I found this power to choose. I looked it up and I'm going to save both of us some money." He goes, "I found it for 1 cent cheaper per kilowatt." You cannot sell the price. If you go by the rates, you will die by the rates. Your friends and family don't want to be sold. So guys, how do we do this? The right way, relationship marketing. What does relationship marketing mean? That means they're switching their electric bill, their gas bill, their M-Mobile, whatever your product is, they're switching it based off of a relationship. Now, when a relationship becomes involved, loyalty comes involved. And guys, I really want y'all to listen to me. This is always a hard part to do because people say, well, customer gathering is very boring, okay? So it's very difficult for me to rely the importance of this on you. But it will be so significant. And the reason I want you to listen to me is because I have history at this. I've done this before in the energy sector. And I know what the residual can do for you when you build thousands of sticky customers. And I know that it can have a very adverse effect if you have thousands of customers based off of price. You'll lose them, period. Everybody understand that? You will not keep your residual. You'll be introduced to a word called attrition if you do not base it off of relationship marketing. Now, how do we do that? The three things we do is we ask them for a small favor. We tell them it involves their help, and the most important time you will ever use this is you tell them your why. There's two reasons we have whys in this business. One is to drive you through the hard times, when things are dark, when things are telling you no. The other reason we have a why is in gathering your customers. If you have a deep, deep, deep why, and you call your mother, brother, cousin, sister, neighbor to right, neighbor to left, and you tell them your why, they're going to switch. So if Marty's my uncle, and I call up Marty and I say, hey, Uncle Marty, this is Tim. What's going on, man? Hey, man, I need a small favor. You know, Timmy, he's getting his master's degree at Tarleton, and I need you to become my energy customer. Now, hey, before you answer, don't shake yet. Before you answer, it's not going to cost you any money to switch. Same guy's going to read your meter. Same guy's going to, if the electricity goes out, and most importantly, you're going to save a little bit of money. But here's the big deal. You're going to be doing your part and helping Timmy get his degree. Can I count on you? He's going to say yes. He's going to say yes. He'll loan me money. He'll babysit my kids. He might give me a kidney on a good day. He will switch his electric bill or his gas bill. But hey, here's more important, guys. When Direct comes up and knocks on Marty's door 6 months from now, and they say, hey, we want to switch your electric bill. We're going to give you $50, a gift certificate to Waffle House, and 2% cheaper. You know what he's going to say? He's going to say, no, I can't switch because I'm helping my nephew out. He's getting a master's degree at Tarleton. Guys, that is why we build sticky customers. You know, I hear people when I'm sitting there a lot of times when I'm doing the presentation and I'm going through what Reggie did. Man, he did a phenomenal job. And the first thing I always find out people, how I'm going to determine if I'm going to work with them, is I find their why. That's the way I determine if I'm going to work with a business partner. And when they tell me their why, the first thing I do is I say, you take what you just told me from the bottom of your heart, from the deepest part of your gut, you just told me your why. I need you to call 5 people and switch 5 bills. Because if you tell them what you just told me, you're going to get your 5 customers. Does everybody understand that? Okay, so that's what we do. We tell people our why, and we get our customer based off of that. The next thing we do, there's multiple ways we can gather a customer. I always tell people to pick up your checkbook and find who you write a check to. Okay? These are the easy ones. I look, I see that I'm writing a check to Nichols Lawn and Landscape. I don't ask them for a small favor. I tell them when they're coming back out to cut my grass, bring your electric bill. Period. Cut and dry. The people at D&L that picks up our garbage, I need you to come by and I need you to bring your electric bill. The plumber, whoever it is, you go to your checkbook and anybody you write a check to, what you're going to do is you're going to tell them they're going to become your customer. Okay? The next way we gather a customer is when Reggie's sitting there he's sitting there doing a presentation for somebody, and he gets finished with them. He says, hey, are you a number 1 or are you a number 2? And they go, you know what? I see it. I believe in it, but it's just not for me. I'm a number 2. It's not the right timing. Reggie's going to go, great. I'll tell you what, I need you to become my customer. And in their mindset, their very shallow mindset, they're thinking, man, I just saved $299. Ain't that right, Antoine? So they're thinking they got out of something. Well, really what they did, they got into something. They just became your customer, okay? So that's very important. Now, the one thing that we have to emphasize is most companies have one flow of income. It's either residual-based or bonus-based. This company has 3. It has a residual flow, a bonus, and the most important one that you should always take advantage of with your team is 10 points in 10 days equals $1,000. Guys, if your team, you know, I'm going to challenge you right here. When you leave this meeting, you go look at your downline. okay? And if your downline's not averaging 28, 29% of people getting that, then you need to look at the mirror and say, I got to do a better job. Because when your team is getting that $1,000, it's game over, okay? I'll always remember this, and this is when I knew we were onto something, okay? It was June the 3rd is when we took off. That's when we launched. About a month later, me and Antoine were doing a presentation, and we're at the Doubletree Hotel, and we've got about 40 people there, and a lady comes up talking to Antoine, and she's crying. And she has a $1,000 check. 50 years old, single mom, gets paid bi-weekly, and never had seen a $1,000 check in her life, okay? And I told Antoine after that, I said, man, we're gonna kill it, because we don't even have to teach her the invitation or anything. She's gonna get people here, because you know how she's gonna get them there? Is with the $1,000 check. So guys, you have to work on that. It has to be the focal point of your team building, is gathering the customers in groups, getting to the 20, once you get to the 20, getting the free energy. Last but not least, rates. So many times we'll see people working into the monthly rates or the year-to-year contracts or the 2-year, and they don't truly understand why they're doing it, okay? What you have to take out of your mind is that the customer is locked in on the 1 and 2 year rate, okay? The first thing I did for my mom and dad was put them on a 2-year contract. Actually, I believe it was a 3-year contract. Now, the reason I would do that is because it gives them a sound state of mind that it's never going to go up. So you have to get out of your mind that you're locking people in and understand that you're giving them an opportunity that they've got the company locked in. How many of us would have loved to locked in at the gas pump for $3 a gallon a month ago? But we don't think about it that way. We get in our mind that we're going to get them on a month-to-month because they don't want to be locked in. So we have to teach them that it is the best thing for them. And guys, very seldom in life is it the best for both sides, but I can promise you the best thing for a consumer right now in this industry is to be on a long-term contract with our prices. And the best thing for you trying to build residual is to have them locked in on a long-term contract. Because when you have them all on month to month to month to month to month, they're vulnerable to your opposition. So it will kill you over the long haul if you sell the month to month over and over again. Challenge yourself, okay? Everybody in this room right now is here for one reason: to financially set themselves free, to be a regional director, to be a national director. If you are required to have 20 points to be a national director, doesn't it just make sense to go ahead and do them up front and get paid on it? I mean, let's really think about that. Why not, when you teach people to sign up, teach them to get their customers and get paid for it? If they go get 20 customer points, they get $1,300. Plus, they get free energy of $150 a month. So many times what we teach people to do is go get 2 customer points. Get you to senior director, okay? Teach them to gather their customers and get it out of the way at the same time they're building. Guys, I appreciate your time. You know, I know sometimes this is the boring part of it, but trust me, it is the nuts and bolts of our business. If you do not practice this, it will haunt you down the road. Ken Hartwick, Rebecca McDonald, what do they want out of this? They want hundreds of thousands of millions of customers. That's our job to gather them and for them to pay us warmly and greatly for it. Guys, I appreciate it. Thank you very much for having me out here this afternoon. It's been a blessing. Thank you, Marty, for helping me out there. Hey, I want to give a shout out to one person in the room to see if they're here. Team Champion, thank you very much, and thank you for everything we did. Being in the house, we appreciate you. I thought you were here. Thank you very much, and have a great day.